weekly about my organic garden located in Southern California in San Diego. And today actually I'm really excited because it has rained. So I'm scoping really literally in between showers to take you around and show you the garden. So let me tell you a little bit about the weather. Again, the greatest news is that it has been raining, and in the moment we probably have 69 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 21 degrees Celsius. So temperatures are very nice, balmy. It's very comfortable to be outside. And what you're seeing here is a scene from my front yard, and the rose in front is a miniature rose called Old Fashioned Girl. So yesterday we had the best weather and there was no rain inside. And actually my husband and I, we have been really busy yesterday in the garden, and I would like to show you and tell you a little bit what we have done. First, let's have a closer look at this plant here. This is a plant that I planted a few weeks ago, and I'm really happy. It had a lot of dried leaves after I planted it because it was so hot, and now it's doing so much better. It's actually Stachys Monieri Humelo. I always stumble a little bit when I have to say the name. So Stachys Monieri Humelo. And you see it has really this squeaky green, crinkly leaves. I really like the plant quite a bit, and it has recovered so nicely from the heat that it was getting right after transplanting in the garden. So let's turn a little bit to the side. And first I would like to show you, as long as I'm a little bit further away, you see the pygmy date palm. I just hope I hold my phone right because the sun is shining on my phone and I can hardly see what I'm really pointing at. So this is one of the pygmy date palms that I have in the garden, and this one has been really trimmed up yesterday by my husband, and I think it's so much nicer. So you can, if you see, you can walk underneath it now without being poked by the fronds, which is actually nice for us, but also, you know, Halloween is almost drawing up, and a lot of people will come here, and I think it's nice that nobody gets poked. So turning to the right, the ones who come here regularly will see or will maybe remember that I planted this Verbena what is the name? Verbena Bonariensis. Again, another tongue twister. Verbena Bonariensis. I think 1 week ago, a little over a week ago, and it has enjoyed the rain so much. I don't know if you can see, it's really kind of branching out a little bit. It has very delicate purple flowers. I just come a little closer. And it's actually really a favorite with the bees, and that's true. It's also said it's a favorite with the butterflies, but I haven't seen a butterfly on it yet. But I'm very happy, just within really 1 week, the plants look like it has really enjoying its new place to live. And I like the airiness of this plant quite a bit. This is a new plant to me. It's supposed to be a drought tolerant plant, and I think it's doing quite well here. Just going a little bit over to the right, here is the rose White Mighty Land, and I think it's also flowering very beautifully, and I hope I see some more flowers of this rose during autumn. So again, that's such an unusual sight for us. Usually it doesn't rain at all in September in San Diego. So you see, put this cane in the front a little bit away. You see the Prince Rose hanging down because of the weight of the raindrops. I think it's such a beautiful sight. So my salvia Mystic Spires Blue is still flowering strongly. I think it's a very nice sight still, even at this time of the year. And I was supposed to cut it down earlier, but actually I didn't. I just cut down a very few branches in the front, but they are not blooming yet. And now I don't know if I really should cut down the plant, but I just don't have the heart yet because it's still flowering very nicely. So Salvia, Mystic Spires Blue. Then again, almost my top blooming rose in the front yard. This is our Lady of Guadalupe, and you see the rose is flowering profusely. I think that is the third or even the fourth flush of this rose. Unfortunately, the flowers are turning to the sun, which is away from my front yard, but at least my neighbor, I hope, has fun when he and she is going in and out to their front door to see the rose in full bloom from the other side. So let's just move on a little bit. Here, this is what we actually did yesterday. You can see there is a second, and also a little further down, a third Verbena Bonariensis planted. And I'm so happy that I finally did that, and see how pretty this plant is here. This is an area where I have never been digging in my garden, and I was really postponing it and putting it off because I know digging in a place so close by a palm, you see this is the pygmy date palms, the trunks of the pygmy date palms, is very hard. And usually we have so bad soil here. It's full of stones of all types of sizes, from fist size to honestly being a foot tall. But finally I asked my gardener to dig, and then my husband made the holes even a little wider yesterday. And now the verbena is planted. And I just hope it will weave a little bit through the trunks of the palm. I like, again, the airiness of the plant. So that's a very light plant, a see-through plant. And I hope you see it's close enough to the rose, Our Lady of Guadalupe, that they will flirt a little bit with each other, so that when you see that you really see the colors together, the pink of the rose, here I show you a bloom, so this pink together with the light purple color of the verbena. And I don't know, it's hard to see, I guess, on the phone. I will move a little bit backwards. I have kind of created a little bit of a mound here, so that the plants that I freshly planted are a little bit higher, so that the root competition, at least in the beginning with the palm, is not as strong. I don't know if the verbena can really live here because of the strong root competition it will have with the palm, but I hope so. But at least I think for a year it might be fine. So here's the second one, and here you see already my idea that the rose, the pink color of the rose and the verbena go very well, and I think it will be very nice. Be nice. The verbena is supposed to get 3 to 4 feet high, and then it should weave through the rose without shading the rose. And I also think that the verbena will be a good cut flower. Again, I come closer one more time that you can see it a little bit better. Will be a good cut flower for little small flower arrangements. So I move now a little bit further through my front yard. Again, another rose. One of my favorites is lavender crystal, and here a bloom is hiding a little bit underneath the top of the decorative wall. Very beautiful lavender color, and I think the rose is also enjoying the rain quite a bit. So here's a fresh bud. One rose that's doing very well is the rose Marie Pavie. That's an old polyantha, and you see how pretty this rose is. It's so romantic, and it has a musk fragrance, which is actually also very, very nice, and it has a strong fragrance. Today it's a little bit humid, and standing where I'm standing, I can really smell the rose without putting my nose directly into it. And you see it is really full of little blooms. They hang down because of the rain, but they will recover and they will be more upright as the weather is getting better. And it's supposed to rain on and off today, but from tomorrow on the weather is supposed to get better again, and temperatures will also actually warm up quite a bit within the next week. So we are not done with the heat yet. I'm very proud of myself. Yesterday I fertilized all the roses at the walkway to the front door, so I hope that I can coax them in one more flush. So I will take you to the other side of the front garden, just in case you're just joining. I'm Christina and I am scoping weekly about my organic garden in Southern California in San Diego. And here you can see another Our Lady of Guadalupe. It's, as I said, with the other, it's a third flush or even the fourth flush, and you see that the rose is really a prolific bloomer. And it's a beautiful pink. It's not a screamy pink, it's a very soft pink. I think it's a very, very nice rose to have. Let's move on a little bit further. And here underneath the fresh mulch is an Alstroemeria. The name is called Miss Sophie, and I'm a little bit disappointed that it totally has retreated. I think it's because of the heat. So yesterday, before the rain started, I also fertilized this plant and I was giving it a good covering with mulch. So I hope that it will come out of the ground, and actually when it's clear where the plant is, I will dig it out and place it in a different position in the garden, because I think, again, the palm root competition, in this case I will show you with the really, really tall Queen Anne palms, is really choking the Alstroemeria, and you see how tall these palms are. And I will just dig it out and position it somewhere else. Just coming into view is a very nice lavender rose. This is Sweetness, also enjoying the rain. I think this is a very beautiful rose, and again it has also a super nice fragrance. Another bloom of Sweetness. Let's go to the backyard, where I have to show you two more things. You're kind of passing another climbing iceberg rose on the way to the backyard. And you see it's flowering, but it's not too impressive. It's okay. It's a little dark, the position for the rose. So it's, again, still doing its thing, but not an ideal location. Too much shade, and again, too much root competition with the palms, which is really restricting the ability of the rose to flower. So just come with me, bear with me. We will go to the backyard, and there I have to show you a really spectacular rose. And here you see the fruits of our labors. Yesterday we were pruning the pygmy date palms, and you see how many fronds are still lying here. Just have to put them in the trash bins. For the ones who are joining, I'm Christina, and I am scoping about my organic garden in San Diego, California, and we are just on the way to the backyard. Bear with me, I have to just get to one more garden gate, and I will show you a spectacular rose, climbing rose, that is flowering in the backyard in the moment. So on the way to the rose, here's another one, and actually I don't know the name of this rose, but it is in the moment. It's a Floribunda, I know that, but the name is just not coming to me. So, but it has a very nice pink bloom. So come with me. We are in the backyard now. This is my white garden bed that you are seeing, and there are a rose blooming here and there, but it's not a spectacular sight right now. So we have to just move around this other pygmy date palm, and then you will see it already. Ta-da! There it is. You see, this is a huge Pierre de Ronsard climbing rose, and I think it's looking absolutely spectacular right now. Look at the size of this rose. Let me just put you for the first time in landscape mode. Maybe I just learned that Periscope has updated its app and we can do landscape now. Let me just flip you and see. Yes, it does. So here you see, I would guess that the rose is maybe 12 feet wide and 10 feet high. Thanks for the hearts. So it's really a huge rose, and it's flowering so nicely, and actually I'm lucky the sun is just coming out right now, just while I'm taking this video of the rose, and the light is just getting much nicer. I will get a little bit closer, so I will flip the phone back and I will show you some of the flowers up close so that you are really able to admire the beautiful blooms of this rose. Maybe just go over here a little bit to the left, and here you see the flowers in all states, you know, fully open, just on the way to open, and you see it has pink to the edges of the petal, which just gives the rose a nice depth. Here's a rose that's not fully open. That's actually my favorite stage. I think it is so pretty. And the rose is actually lasting. Let me just see if I find a few other flowers so that you get even a better idea about the different stages. Yeah, here you see, here's one. It's a little bit already over, but here are two that are in the bud stage and just barely opening. So for the ones that are just coming in, the rose that I'm showing right now is Pierre de Ronsard, a huge climbing rose in my garden. So let me step back again and move already to the last plant that I want to show you for today. And one more time I will flip you into landscape, just bear with me. There you go. And here you can see how huge this rose is. This is one of the biggest roses in my garden. I guess the rose is probably 5 to 6 years old, and I think it's quite impressive the size that it has reached. So let's move on and let's have a look at the irises that I have. What you see here is our agility equipment for our rescue Doberman. He's practicing with us in the garden to do a little bit of agility. So let's just have a look at the irises that I planted last week, iris rhizomes, and let's just see how they're doing. But before we are going over to look there, first let me just pause and show you this iceberg rose planted in a terracotta container with, I think, a nice obelisk in the middle, and also you see this rose is flowering profusely. So if you just joined, I'm Christina. I'm scoping weekly about my organic garden located in San Diego. And I hope you enjoy what you have seen so far, or when you just have come in. We are almost at the end of the tour, so if you like what you're seeing now, you may want to watch the replay, which is starting, of course, immediately after I have finished this periscope. So the rose you're seeing is iceberg, growing in a big terracotta container, and it's flowering profusely right now. So we're on the way to the last plant that I would like to show you. Actually, I see something here, so I changed plans and I show you two more roses, which was actually unplanned, but I just want to show them to you. This is actually Rhodologue Charles Gravereux. That is a tea rose, and that's one of my most favorite tea roses in my garden. I think the flowers are so elegant of this rose. And this rose has the ability to bloom and flower throughout the winter if it's fertilized. Right by this rose, another one waiting in a container to be planted. This beauty is Le Vesuve, also a tea rose, which has the ability to flower throughout the winter in my climate. If you have fallen in love with these roses, just know they are not very hardy, so you need to live in a warm climate to be able to overwinter them. So now I'm going to have a look at my iris rhizomes that I have planted last week. I don't know if you can hear it. It's kind of, the wind is coming up. Let me just show you this one. This is Rio Vista, and you see the old leaves, and the rhizome is slightly buried by soil. But the nice thing is you see new leaves are coming out. They are light green, they're healthy. The tips are a little bit brown, and I think that's already from being a little bit overwatered. So with irises, you have to be careful, especially when they are so small, like this guy's just planted, newly planted rhizomes. You just have to water them fairly light and make sure that the plants get relatively dry in between, otherwise they may rot. Here's the second one. Also in comparison to last week, what has happened, not much growth yet, but you see how green these things have become. So they definitely start actively to grow. This variety is called Clarence, and this is the very last one. This iris is best bet, and you see a nice photo there, and nothing seems to be happening in front, but I just saw, it's always so interesting this plant, that here in the back you see it starts to make new leaves. So I think these three are actively growing. So if you love irises, now is the time to get the rhizomes and plant them either in pots or in the ground. I prefer to plant them in pots because you control the moisture level of the soil a little bit better. So we are at the end of the tour. I just see that some more people have been coming in and joining. So if you want to see the whole show, just go back and watch the replay on Periscope. And if you liked the show and what you have been seeing, please follow me on Periscope. And lastly, I would like to mention that I'm also writing a garden blog called organicgardendreams.com. I repeat, organicgardendreams.com. And there you can see more photos from my garden, other gardens that I have been visiting. And also I'm just working right now on a post about roses that have been blooming in September in my garden. It's almost done and it will be up very soon. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you will be with me next weekend. I will try to scope either on Saturday or Sunday again about my own garden. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope I see you next week.